Okay, so on today's episode of What the Hell Happened, we're going to talk about the day I had a stroke. But before we get into it, I want to dispel a few misconceptions. For some reason, a lot of people seem to believe that this stroke was caused by a BBL surgery or some sort of botched plastic surgery or illegal butt injections, and that simply is not the case. I have had none of those procedures done. So let's go back to the day in question. April 18th, 2025. It was a normal day. I got up that morning, got dressed, went to the gym, and had a pretty good workout. That was the day I wore my cute little green jumpsuit. After my workout, I was feeling pretty confident, feeling pretty good about myself and the direction in which my workouts were going. So I made a cute little video, which has since gone viral for a lot of reasons that seem different from the intended reason. Anyway, fast forward, come in the house, make a little lunch, and no, I wasn't eating crazy. I had a simple rotisserie chicken, asparagus, and some sweet potatoes because I was really on track with trying to make sure that I was eating clean. So I finished my lunch, hop in the shower, get dressed, and head on over to the hospital. So I was visiting my mom in the hospital because she was having a routine hysterectomy, and she called me earlier that morning and asked if I could bring her a charger. So boom, no problem. So I get on the highway, get stuck in this Atlanta traffic, and if you know anything about Atlanta traffic, oh my God, it's horrendous. What normally would be a 35-minute drive took about an hour and a half to get there. So I get to the hospital. So I get a call from my agent before I walk into the hospital room, and we're sitting on the phone for a good 15-20 minutes talking. Get off the phone, go in the room, greet my mom. She's in good spirits. She just had a routine procedure done and everything was going well. So after a few minutes laughing and joking with my mom, I go and I have a seat in the chair next to her hospital bed. And that's when things went left. So I sit down in this chair, and all of a sudden I started feeling a massive headache coming on. Like a headache like you can't even explain. Then all of a sudden I started feeling kind of nauseous. And every time I would try to go and get out this, for some reason my body wouldn't let me. Then all of a sudden I started feeling like the room was spinning. It was like one of those rides at an amusement park. Next thing I know, I'm projectile vomiting and starting to go in and out of consciousness. My mom's on the side of me like, what's wrong? What's wrong? Are you okay? And I can't respond to her because I'm like in this mental zone that I can't even explain. Anyway, the nurses come in and they rush me down to the ER. Of course, I'm unconscious at this point when all this is going on. I wake up and the doctors are like, ma'am, you're having a stroke. Excuse me? What? They're like, ma'am, you're having a stroke. I'm like, what the fuck? You gotta be kidding me right now. Okay. So I'm in and out of consciousness and I fall asleep. I wake up. I'm in a hospital room. Not cool. The first time I woke up, it was 2 o'clock in the morning. All I could think was, oh my God, I don't know how much time I have left. So I remember I didn't have control over the right hand side of my body. My hand was trembling, my legs were trembling. I couldn't do anything with my right hand. But my left hand was good, and I'm left-handed. They had this table right next to my bed, and my purse was sitting on it. So I reached into my purse, fished out my phone. I don't know how long it took me to do that, but it felt like forever. Got my phone out, and all I could think was, let me text the passwords to my phones to my cousins. because in my mind, I'm not knowing how much time I have left. And I just wanted to be able to make things easier should things go in a direction. You already know what I'm saying. Anyway, so it took me about probably 45 minutes to an hour just to be able to text 2 passwords because I could only use one hand, and I was just so fighting just to be able to think clearly. Send the text messages, pass back out, go to sleep. I wake up the next morning, and the doctors are like, we got to run a bunch of tests on you so we can figure out what's caused this stroke. And I'm like, yeah, because I'm literally doing all of the things that I'm supposed to be doing. I'm eating right, I'm exercising, I'm not drinking, I'm not smoking, I'm taking vitamins and supplements. How does this happen? Like, how? So they run a bunch of tests on me. Oh my God, it was so many tests ran on me. I couldn't even tell you how many. But finally, they run this one test where they take a camera and stick it down my throat so that they can see the backside of my heart. Of course, I'm asleep for this procedure. Anyway, come to find out that I have a hole in my heart. Not a murmur, but an actual hole. And it has to be closed up with a surgical procedure. So I'm like, whew. But still, not gonna lie, I was pissed. If all this is gonna happen, I mean, I felt like shit, I could have been eating Krispy Kremes and being a fat ass, right? But seriously, I'm willing to bet that the fact that I was in fairly good physical condition, that I had been working out, I hadn't eaten healthy, I hadn't been drinking or smoking, I'm really willing to bet that those factors aided in my miraculous recovery, because being in there for 5 days and being able to walk out of there whole without the need for physical therapy, speech therapy, or any of that is nothing short of amazing. Let me go back and tell you what I did. I can remember it was Sunday. I woke up late Sunday night and I was thinking to myself that I don't want this for my life. I refuse to allow this to be what my life was going to look like moving forward. I mean, I couldn't even cut my own food. I couldn't go to the bathroom by myself. I couldn't get out the bed by myself without an alarm going off. I literally had no control over the right-hand side of my body. Anytime I would try to talk, half of my words would come out, but the other half sounded like marbles, like literally, that's what it sounded like. In my mind, I knew what I wanted to say to people, but what was coming out my mouth was something completely different. That Sunday night, I managed to pull my phone out and I went on YouTube University and I found some post-stroke recovery exercises. And when I tell you, I sat in that bed and I did everything that I could do to try to get function back in my hands and my legs, my feet, just to get my body back together. And as far as my speech was concerned, I made myself read out loud. There might have been a menu. And when I tell you, I would read that menu out loud over and over again, forcing myself to enunciate, forcing my brain to think and connect the dots to my voice and my vocal cords and let everything come out clearly. That's what I did. I didn't sit around and I didn't wait. And when I tell you, when we got to Wednesday and it was time for me to be discharged from that hospital, I was able to walk out of there without the requirement of going to a rehab facility for 30 days, which is what they were initially talking about. I didn't have to go to a speech therapist. I didn't have to do any of that. And I say all of this to say that I know, one, God definitely had his hand on me. Two, the fact that I was in such good physical condition probably aided tremendously as well. And 3, the biggest takeaway is nothing is impossible. And a lot of the stuff in life that we stress about or get mad over, the things that we allow to put us in dark places, a lot of that stuff don't matter. It doesn't matter.